Welcome back to the Jen and Thomas podcast. I'm your host, Thomas. With us today, we have a special guest. You met. Fuck. All right, hold on. I got to start over.
That's fine.
Welcome back to the Jen and Thomas podcast. I'm your host, Thomas. With us today, we have a very special guest. You may remember him from such roles as the boat jacking of Starship 79 and the erotic adventures of Hercules. Brandon Churchill, how are you doing?
It's good to be here.
I'm excited to have you. So, from what I understand, you chose our drink of choice today. What are we drinking?
Shoe polish.
Yeah, so shoe polish. This was a bit of an odd duck of a drink for me. I didn't really know it was a thing. So today we are drinking shoe polish, and in that is turpentine, gum arabic, ethylene glycol, and mine has a colorant. Yours is a bit more of a caramel color. Mine's just black.
Oh, mine's a scotch and soda. I don't know what you're drinking over there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. And we are back with the correct drink. So, Brandon, you might have to elaborate on this because, from what I understand, this is not the official name of our drink. It's something you came up with on your own.
I don't know if I came up with that necessarily, but we were on vacation in Mexico. I ordered a scotch and soda because it's a new thing that I've kind of gotten into.
Scotch and soda as a whole, or like scotches?
Whiskey and soda, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I initially started with like a whiskey, like a cheap whiskey and a club soda.
Mm-hmm.
Realized that really brings out the flavor of the whiskey without the bite of the whiskey.
Well, and whiskey water is already pretty popular, but I think you know me,
This
I love
brings it
anything
up a
bubbly.
notch. It brings it up a notch.
Yeah.
And then I figured I've kind of heard of like a scotch and soda before, like a 7 and 7 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at a wedding and I was like, can I get a scotch and soda? And I had that. I was like, oh, this makes sense. This is how people are supposed to drink scotch. You drink scotch straight on the rocks. You're just a man. I don't know. Not a man, like a dumb man. I don't know.
Okay.
It's
yeah.
just like somebody who smokes so many cigars and cigarettes that they don't have any flavor in their mouth that they need something to kind of remind them their taste buds kind of work.
Okay.
So definitely scotch and soda is the way to drink scotch. It definitely brings out the flavor of the scotch without it being so overpowering and burny that you can't taste it. So
Yeah,
this is like the perfect way to drink a scotch.
I love whiskey. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
But scotch, I am not a big, like, straight up, like, neat or on the rocks kind of guy. I need to have my scotch with water. And with soda water, this is the first time I've had it.
Right.
That does it for me, honestly.
I've never been a big scotch guy, and then, like I said, I had the scotch and soda, and I'm like, oh, this is how I'm going to drink this.
Well, and this might tie into how we got the name here, but to me, most scotch tastes like burnt tires to me.
And that's what somebody said when I said, you got to try this. They go, this tastes like shoe polish. And I said, you're 100% correct, and I will be ordering it like that the rest of the night.
And that was in Mexico. Someone said tastes like shoe polish?
Correct.
Okay. Well, and so specifically, we actually took a little bit of a gamble when selecting our scotch today. We were originally thinking a Johnny Walker or a Jameson maybe.
Like a Johnny Red.
Yeah, and so we ended up going with Dewar's, which people know well as a scotch.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a Caribbean smooth rum cask finish.
Yeah, so it was finished in rum barrels and aged for 8 years.
Yeah, so aged 8 years, says here on the label, double aged and finished in Caribbean or Caribbean? How do you say it?
Pirates of the Sorry, now you got me in my head.
Well, no, I say Caribbean. I don't know what you say.
Caribbean.
You say Caribbean? Yeah,
It depends. The Pirates of the Caribbean, but it is the Caribbean.
Well, I just say Caribbean.
Apparently I say it both ways.
Depending on, it's like route and route. I say like I'm en route, but I say Route 66. I don't say Route 60. Wait, do I say Route 66? Route 66. But I'm en route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't judge.
Yeah.
I say it both ways.
Well, see, now I'm fucked up too.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Don't
finished
think
in
about it.
Caribbean rum cast for extra smoothness with notes of brown sugar, tropical fruits, caramel, and biscuity cereal. I taste the like brown sugar.
Like that clanking?
I love that clinking, but I don't taste biscuity cereal by any means or tropical fruits. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen listening at home, we had a sip before we started recording of Just in the Glass, and it is very smooth. Tastes like scotch, but it doesn't like bite.
I'm going to disagree.
You don't think it's smooth, or
For a Scotch, it's less of a burn and more smooth, but it still burns pretty good.
Well, yeah, it's in like relative to a fellow Scotch. It's not the smoothest drink I've ever had.
As far as Scotches go, it's pretty smooth.
Yeah, but no, I like it. I'm very pleased.
Easy to drink. I would
Yeah,
say.
we got a great color of blue on the label. It's just a nice bottle, I think.
I think mine's getting a little diluted. I might have to add a little more to it.
Right, go for it, man.
I didn't mean right now.
Oh, all right.
We'll look into it later.
Yeah.
We'll revisit the flavor profile of my drink.
So you were in Mexico, came up with the name Shoe Polish.
Correct.
Or someone else did, and you just stole it. What were you? Where were you in Mexico? What were you up to?
Puerto Morales for some vacation. If you don't know where Puerto Morales is, it's like between Cancun and Playa del Carmen, I think, is the other place. Just had a resort vacation, killing it.
You were there for a lot longer than I expected you to be.
5 days.
Yeah, I thought you were only going for like a weekend.
Well, we left on Friday and got back on Wednesday.
That's pretty good.
It's a good time.
My last vacation was here.
And look how that turned out.
Yeah, and look how that turned
Don't
out.
go vacationing anywhere else. You might never come back.
Yeah. I can't visit my hometown because then I'll never come back.
Exactly.
But anyway, so what kind of things did you get up to in Mexico? I saw you were at a resort, but did you go down to the ocean?
So that resort specifically didn't really have much of a beach. So
Were you near the beach, or were you like very much inland?
their beach was 5 feet of sand.
Like, so it was just like what, like city sand water?
It's
Or like hotel sand
it's
water
like
kind of thing?
the bit of beach that there was, they built the resort on.
Oh, okay.
So what they had instead were infinity pools, which I am here for because I don't really care for the sand as much. It was really cool, especially by the ocean, because it looked like the pool just goes right out into the ocean, just like continues on.
That is
pretty
cool.
sick. We did watch a sunrise over the ocean. We were in the Gulf. I don't know if I need to explain that. We were in the Gulf of Mexico, so we watched the sunrise over the ocean, and the sun sets over the mangroves.
Sounds very beautiful.
Which the new part of that resort had a rooftop infinity pool. So the first day we watched the sunset over the mangroves. It was kind of cool.
I have never been to Mexico.
I'm very surprised considering you lived in Arizona. You were like a hop, skip, and a jump from it.
Yeah, well, I feel like I might have already said this, but I don't know. I just kind of say this to anyone anytime they say, why haven't I been to Mexico? But where I lived, everyone would go to Rocky Point, Mexico, which is pretty Americanized. I'm like, well, I don't really want to go to Mexico just to be around a bunch of other partying Americans. I can just go downtown. Like, if I'm going to Mexico, I want to go like into Mexico and do something cool there. But,
That sounds dangerous.
well, yeah, but I mean, there are safer pockets. Not that the country as a whole is bad, but that is not the safest place to vacation all the time on your own.
Right.
Yeah, there's a place in Michoacan I really want to go to, but it's either like an island in a lake or it's like a town on the other side of this
I've
lake.
heard of this.
But it's a really, really cool little spot.
I've heard of this. Yeah, on a podcast.
And I'll get the name of it, and maybe we can go sometime. But I also want to go to Jalisco. I don't entirely remember how to say it, but...
Yeah, that sounds right.
Did you drink a lot of tequila while you were out in El Mexico?
No. We actually went with some Cuba Libres.
Cuba Libres, all right. And what is a Cuba Libre?
That would be a rum and coke with a lime.
Well, and so we talked about this earlier. That is how I have always been drinking my rum and cokes. I didn't know people did rum and coke without lime.
So you've exclusively been drinking Cuba Libres then?
Yeah. Because I thought that's what it was. Because, I mean, I like a Coke with lime. Well, I don't know what I did, but I sound a lot better now.
I think you changed the angle of your
Oh,
mic,
okay.
maybe? I don't know.
All right.
You do sound better.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
oh, this is very nice. I got to change the way I do all of this all the time.
There you go.
But yeah, so I've only been doing Cuba Libres apparently my whole life.
It changes the whole flavor profile of the rum and coke. It's insane.
Well, and I've talked to you about this. I guess I've talked to everyone about this, but so I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, well, Scottsdale, before I moved out here to the great Midwest. And my house in Scottsdale, I have like 20 fruit trees planted at my house, and 11 of them are different kinds of citrus. And pretty much all of them are based on like how I could all of the citrus. I got those based on like how can I use that in a drink?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I don't know if you know Tanqueray gin.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, so they have Tanqueray gin, but then they also have Tanqueray Rangpur.
I'm sorry, how did you say it?
Tanqueray?
You don't call it Tanqueray?
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 That's like a Q, so it's like tank. Kia. Tanqueray.
I believe the rappers call it Tanqueray.
The rappers? Does anything about me say that I hang out with rappers?
Not in the slightest.
Well, there you go. But anyway, they have, how do you say it?
Tanqueray.
They have Tanqueray Rangpur, which is their Tanqueray gin, but with
Citrus.
well, it's a specific citrus, Rangpur limes.
Oh.
And Rangpur limes are green on the outside, orange on the inside. And that was like one of the first trees I got, right? And so I got that. I got yuzu. I don't even remember the name. I think because they've like changed the name. I think it's like Americut lime, I think. And I don't know, but in Thailand they use the limes like how we use bay leaves in like cooking and stuff. And so now that's what I do. But their limes can be used for drinks.
How many different kinds of limes are there?
More than you could possibly imagine.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I just know the one.
What, lime?
Yeah.
Well, like there's like Mexican limes, key limes, bear limes, and that's like the ones that we deal with every day.
I've heard of key lime.
Yeah.
Pie.
Yeah. And those are made with key limes. And then like yuzu is kind of its own thing, but
that was a car. Oh, that's a Zuzu. Sorry.
Yeah. So yuzu is its own thing. To me, it's like a piney floral lemon, you know? But some people say it's a kind of lime, but I don't think so. I think it's just its own thing.
Okay.
And then there's Australian finger lime, which it like grows to be about the size of your thumb. And then when you cut it open, instead of like slices, like, you know, if you like oranges and stuff have slices, it almost looks like caviar. It's just like those little balls.
Oh.
Yeah, so you like cut it in half and you just squeeze them out. Oh. And what I have learned is a couple people I know, this isn't really like a big thing because not a ton of people have these trees, which citrus aren't even trees, they're shrubs. So not everyone even has this shrub. But they like squeeze out like all the little lime balls like into their beer, put their thumb on it and like twist it upside down and all that. And that's how they get the lime in their beer. But it's like a boba beer because it's like little lime balls.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think I've said this before. I'll say it again. If you have to add something to a beer to make it taste good, it's not a good beer.
Well, yeah.
Which is why I was happy to come back to America and have a Bud Light, because the beers they had at the resort were garbage.
Brandon, this might be your last appearance on the show. After that, I needed a real beer, so I cracked open a Bud Light.
Oh, you mean the crisp, refreshing America's #1 light beer? Yeah, I did that.
You're right. I'm sorry. I'm still learning the ways of the Anheuser-Busch cult following there is out here.
I wouldn't call it a cult following because I didn't know it was big until I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. I drink it
I tried several different light beers. So like my first light beer, Busch Light.
I think my first light beer might have been like a Coors Light.
And I will tell you, I was like, I don't know if I like beer. I think beer's kind of gross. Moving on, tried different things. Not great. Playing drinking. Yeah, I love the clinking of the glasses. Those are crystal glasses, by the way. Shout out to my grandparents.
Links in the description for Brandon's grandparents' crystal. Our Amazon affiliate link.
Right. So playing drinking games with like really cheap light beer kind of got me into beer because I was like, oh, this is what you need to do. You can't play drinking games with a hard alcohol.
No.
It's a bad idea. And then I got kind of like a craving, like a taste for it. And then I was like, well, my dad's always drank Bud Light. I'll try that, see what that's about. I was like, oh, this is what beer is.
It's popular for a reason. I will say that.
It's really good. Go watch my YouTube channel. I reviewed them.
Yeah, Brandon Churchill on YouTube. And not we, you sent this to me,
Yes.
but you have kind of the easiest YouTube
Link.
now. Just
So my URL,
youtube.com slash
youtube.com/@ Brandon Churchill.
at the A with a circle sign.
Correct.
Yeah.
At Brandon Churchill. They are calling those YouTube banners now.
Well, there you go.
Or not banner. I don't know if they're banners. What are they? It's like a what does Twitter call it?
Oh, a handle?
Yeah. YouTube handles.
Well, and
I
so
was lucky enough to scoop mine up, I guess.
yeah, well, and the thing is, if you search Brandon Churchill, you're not normally my first result. It's like
Should be now.
well, yeah, well, normally it's because something else Churchill related pops up. It'll be like Churchill cigar or something Winston Churchill, and like maybe 2 things later, it'll be like, I'd have a seltzer.
Right.
I forgot where I was going with it. Oh yeah, so Bud Light. Anyway, when I first had light beer, I think it was because I didn't really drink until I was 21, and when I would go out drinking, when it was kind of like not wrap up the night, but like start winding down for the night, Coors Light were like $2, and so that's what I would drink when I.
Do you know why?
Because it's
always Coors. That's $2.
Because it's not good.
Because it's not good and they can't sell them.
Well, yeah. So anyway, I would have a couple of mixed drinks, switch to my Coors Light just to, I guess, keep the buzz going and all of that. But yeah. And then when I moved here, started hanging out with you. That's really only when I started drinking Bud Light, and it's good. It is good.
You know what some people say is it's what did they say? That it's like too carbonated or it gives me headaches.
Drink more regular water if you get headaches, I would say.
It sounds like they just need to stop being such bitches.
I agree. And you know I love carbonated beverages. You were in my truck earlier today and you stepped on about 14 LaCroix cans.
It's true. They're all over the place.
I clean out my car. I'm not kidding, dude. I will clean out my car and then I'm just like, oh, I miss this LaCroix. I miss this LaCroix. I'm like, I got to stop drinking LaCroix while driving and just throwing my cans down. Because it's like that stereotypical, like I don't know if this was a commercial I saw or if it was a movie when I was a kid, but it was like this guy like drinking beers, crushing the can, just throwing it off to the side. That's me with LaCroix, dude.
I would liken it to the scene in Harry Potter when they're in the vault in like the 7th movie or 8th movie.
Oh, yeah, when
and
that cup just keeps duplicating.
Yeah, the shit keeps duplicating.
Yeah.
That's your fucking car with LaCroix cans. I step in there and they like duplicate 8 times.
It's out of control, dude. I probably drink at least 6 or 7
I was
a day.
sitting in a ball pit of LaCroix cans.
Yeah, you had to swim to get out.
I was afraid to open the door and litter.
Yeah,
half of your car.
that's why I rolled down the window and I had you just dive in.
Yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard style.
Mm-hmm. But speaking of, are you? I don't really know the word for it, but there's like these almost light beers. Like there's this one called like Stella Artois. Doesn't really have a light beer, but every once in a while they do this like Stella Solstice, and it's lighter. And I feel like there's like a Bud Golden.
Stella is an Anheuser product, and Stella is trash.
Well, no, I know. That's not what I'm talking. I'm just saying, like Stella occasionally has this like Stella Solstice, and it's like a lighter version. But I feel like recently I've seen like some kind of it's like something golden.
Oh well, there's
Is it Bud Golden?
No. There's like a Michelob, I think.
Michelob Golden
Or a Miller. One of those two does a golden wheat.
But it's a little lighter, but it's not quite a light.
Well,
beer.
you know what the best. I hesitate to say the best light beer actually, but a really good light beer is the Blue Moon Light Sky.
That is so good. I actually had that for that first time.
Good.
You know, that was my welcome to Missouri moment, I think, is because you were helping me pick up a mattress and the person like wasn't back yet or something.
Yeah.
And I was just texting a friend of ours and I was like, "Oh yeah, you know, me and Brandon are, you know, we're just sitting in this parking lot drinking, waiting for this person to show up with a mattress." And like, welcome to Missouri.
Things you do in Missouri.
Yeah, they're like just drinking on a playground in South County.
Waiting for a person to show up so you can get their mattress out.
Yeah, and it was just, I was like, damn, I really am here, aren't I?
Well, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but in Missouri, there is no open container law. So
Which is a far cry from where I lived, where Arizona is one of the worst states to get a DUI. They'll give you a DUI for anything.
for one, you can walk around with an open container of alcohol around town. And also, you can drink as a passenger in a vehicle, which is fucking wild.
Yeah.
I had a friend come down here, and I was like, yeah, let's just go walk. He started chugging his beer, and I was like, no, dude, you don't gotta do that. Like, if you want to chug it and then grab a new one for the walk, like, sure.
Yeah.
But, like, you can fill your fucking pockets full of buds, and we'll go walk to the bar with our alcohol. Like, we can do that.
Yeah.
It's insane.
What I wish you could kind of do, which I understand why you can't, because glass is like something that can be expensive, but it would be really cool if you could just like order your drink at one bar, be like, all right guys, I'll see you, walk out, and then maybe go to the next bar but carry your little mixed drink. But that is something I kind of wish you could do in the bar areas around here. I guess get a plastic cup.
Come to 12 bars of charity in December.
Well, I will be here in December.
It's what we will be doing. It's basically a giant bar crawl that everybody just fills the streets. It's crazy. It's all for charity.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to tell you to go out and drink, but if you're going to drink, do it for charity.
Do it for charity.
Do it for charity.
Yeah, 12 bars for charity.
Yeah.
So we do that one in December, and then it was my first time this year, but in February is Mardi Gras, and in St. Louis, it's the second largest Mardi Gras in the country.
Second to Nashville?
New Orleans.
No, I know. I was
Jesus.
just joshing. There was something really, really embarrassing that happened. What?
Oh, shout out to Oliver the cat.
Shout out to Oliver. He occasionally makes his little guest appearance on your YouTube channel. He pokes his little head up from time to time, I've noticed.
Yeah, I don't control what he does. I just try to control him from getting on the counters and stuff. That's about it.
You know, Brandon, you can't tame a wild animal.
He's like half tiger, so I don't pretend to try. Yeah, those are toasted.
Do you need another soda?
No, I'm good with what I got for now.
Oh, okay.
Why is that?
Because I topped mine off with soda and refilled mine a little bit, so this is kind of my second. But I didn't know you went through your whole soda.
Well, I did like a 3/4 for each of our first one.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm good with this for now. Yeah, this will get me there.
What were we just talking about?
We were talking about bars for charity
shoot.
and then Mardi Gras. Like the Mardi Gras we did this year was pretty fun, and it's basically like a giant block party in all of Soulard. It's pretty solid. Pretty solid.
So I was in Dogtown. You know where that is?
Yeah.
So they have a huge Irish community, and they were talking to me about their St. Patrick's Day activities that they do. And I'm like, oh yeah, St. Patrick's Day. That's, this, that, and the other. And I was talking to him about it.
Right.
He's like, yeah, we have the biggest St. Patrick's Day thing in the city. And I was like, isn't that Soulard? And I was like having this whole conversation. I was thinking of Mardi Gras, but I got it confused. And he was talking about St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I see everyone in Soulard going like, fucking going ham, balls to the wall.
Yeah.
And he's no, this is the Irish town. Like,
yeah.
As someone that's lived here for 2 weeks, I think I know what's going on here.
Yeah, no, Dogtown is the place for St. Patrick's Day, which I've never been out on St. Patrick's Day, especially it being like on a weekday. Like I just don't.
And but they have a lot of Irish flags out there. It's a little Irish neighborhood.
I'll just buy myself a bottle of Jameson and put on some shows or movies, like Look of the Irish from Disney Channel on my TV. And
dude, you know what is so funny is I was hanging out with a woman.
Okay.
You know me. I'm all about the ladies. And we were talking about
Women's Lives Matter.
Women's lives matter. You heard it here first. Women's lives matter. But we were at her house getting a little crazy, talking about Disney Channel original movies.
That is getting crazy.
Well, no, we were just sitting there because we were watching like American Horror Story, and I was like, damn, this is scary. I was like, did you ever watch that movie Don't Look Under the Bed or something? And she was like, what was this? and I could barely remember it, but it's about this like imaginary friend turns into the boogeyman.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I kind of remember seeing parts of it,
Well,
but I'd never watched it.
Well, yeah, and so anyway, and then we were talking about Halloween Town because it was the spookiest time of year.
Oh, Halloween Town's the bomb.
And so anyway, we were just talking about all those movies, and we eventually got around to like, oh, what about that mermaid movie? And like, I was like, what was that movie where the guy was just getting shorter the whole time?
Oh,
and
I
then
thought you were gonna ask me the name of the mermaid movie.
oh, well, we'll get back to the mermaid movie because I have a lot to say about that one.
Okay.
But I was like, what was the movie where the guy was playing basketball? He just got like shorter every day. She's like, Luck of the Irish, you stupid bitch. How do you not remember?
Is that
like,
Frankie Muniz?
No.
Nunez? How do you say
Muniz?
it?
Frankie Muniz? He lives in Arizona. He goes to my barbershop. Well, it's not my barbershop anymore, but I used to.
Oh, yeah, we talked about this. The famous barbershop.
Yeah, Scottsdale. Shout out to Scottsdale Barbershop.
Do a fucking ad for the barbershop.
I would love to. I miss them so much. And no, I'm not going to name my current barbershop because they're not worth a shout out.
No, I get it.
But they just don't do, like, they just don't push it where it needs to go. They're not doing anything to set themselves apart. I go to them because they're like the only place that'll give me a $20 haircut.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
I will not pay more than $30, like with the tip included. Like, I'm not going to pay $30 and then tip.
Yeah, exactly.
For my haircut, no.
We both have very simple haircuts. Yours is a little more extravagant than mine.
Yeah, I do a fade.
I use that lightly. I just shave the sides and have scissors on the top. It's not a hard haircut, but some people think you need to charge like an exorbitant amount for like the 15 minutes it takes to cut my hair.
Also, if you call yourself a barbershop and your appointments only, you can get the fuck out of my face. When I want a haircut, I want to go and sit down and wait an hour and a half.
Okay.
Not really. No, when I go in, there's no one else there.
Yeah, I would go in at like,
I go in when it's not busy.
Yeah, 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
I would take off work or I would, save my lunch time for that or something.
So anyway, yeah, no, but I love a good barbershop, man. We've talked about this. It's hard to get a good haircut in this part of the country, I guess.
It's just hard to pick a new person to cut your hair. It's so complicated. The ladies know what we're talking about. How do you pick a new person to cut your hair? It's like if a bad haircut will change the way you look, like permanent, like for however long. Like it's crazy, You have to have a hair is such a big part of a look.
Well, and like dudes that go to a barbershop consistently, like you can't cheat on your barber, you know what I mean? So like once you lock someone down, you're there for years. Like Mike cut my hair every 2 weeks for 8-9 years.
Every 2 weeks is a lot.
Yeah. So, and now it's just like you can't just go to someone else. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be testing the waters with a bunch of people, and then you can't like assign yourself to a bad bar. Oh, it's a mess, dude. It's a hard way to live.
Yeah, that's it's like a first world problem, I think, but
it is a first world problem.
But I get it. I'm on to the Scotch on Rocks right now.
Scotch on Rocks,
not too bad. I'm gonna say.
No, it is. It's good.
This is like it's like a Scotch rum, to be honest with you. It's somewhere in the middle. I don't know if I'd consider this like. I guess it's more Scotch dominant, but it's definitely got rum undertones for sure.
Yeah, well, and like I said, it kind of has like just like everything on the label. It's like you might taste hints of this, that, and the other. It says like you'll taste like brown sugar and a couple other things, but I taste the brown sugar. Like it has that sweetness.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely got the rum sweet. But sweetness of the rum.
But it's so much smoother than your average rum. I mean, not rum. It's so much smoother than your average Scotch. I genuinely recommend this.
It's definitely solid for sure. I'm just turning some lights on.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Probably just do that instead. Yep. So I can see what I'm doing. See if I can.
Oh, it's nice to finally look at you. We've been living in a world of darkness for 1,000 years.
Well, the sun is going down, so it's just how it is.
Which, as my first time ever experiencing daylight savings changing,
they don't have that in Arizona?
No, we were because when the country got together and they're like, hey, how about we all do this?
Arizona's like, fuck you, we're not doing that.
Well, the running joke in Arizona is like, no thanks, we have enough daylight.
Oh,
because it's
that's funny.
hot as balls out there.
That's fair.
But I know people are gonna come at me. Oh, it has to do with like the market, because people are gonna go out when it's whatever. Oh, it has to do with farmers. If you're a farmer, you already have to deal with your environment. You have to deal with your soil. You have to deal with your water supply. You have to deal with pests and animals.
They're not looking at the goddamn clock.
They're getting up when they need to get up. Exactly. And but like I've had people try to defend daylight savings to me.
It's the stupidest shit.
Yeah, there was a classic white guy being like, I heard a quote, but don't know where it's from. But it was like some Native American leader, I guess.
Ben Franklin?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
the guy who invented daylight savings?
Well, no, because this person was clowning on it. Okay. And it was someone from a Native American tribe, but he said something like, daylight savings is like cutting the top off of a blanket and sewing it to the bottom and then telling you the blanket is longer. It's like you just moved it. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it. But it's my first time, and it was, I guess, nice getting that extra hour of sleep, but I had nothing to do today besides come over and hang out with you and watch football.
I just got up earlier. Than I normally would.
Oh, but you know what is funny is, so do you know what an atomic clock is?
You mean that one up there?
What? Oh, wow, it does say atomic clock. Well, no, there's like the atomic clock, and it's like how time is like.
Oh, is it kept in like a secret lab somewhere?
Well, no, but it's like an actual second is measured by like the amount that like an atom vibrates or decays within a certain amount of time.
Okay.
I don't know if every time zone has one or if there's only one in America. I don't know.
Oh, this must be linked to the atomic clock then.
But there's one in Denver, and that's Mountain Time, and that's where I lived. So anyway, so that's where
You lived in Mountain Time?
Yeah, Arizona's
Holy
in Mountain.
shit,
What did you think it was? Pacific?
I've never met anybody who lived in Mountain Time. That's wild.
You know some lesbians in Denver?
I do now. They didn't live there to start with.
Well, yeah, so I was born and raised in Mountain Time, baby.
Yeah, I feel like I've never met anybody who's been in Mountain Time. It's crazy.
I've never met anyone that lived in Central Time.
Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you, buddy. But so anyway, the atomic clock is in Denver.
We have Chicago.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people in Central Time.
And so, like, your phone just connects to like the atomic clock. Like that's why your phone knows what time it is.
Makes sense.
And so, unless you like go in and change your time zone to Mountain Time Phoenix, it just says Mountain Time Denver. Mm-hmm. And so, what would always happen is when it would spring forward, like everyone's phone alarms would go off early, and we would all come into work an hour early on accident.
Jesus,
because our phones are connected to the Denver atomic clock. But yeah, when you select your time zone, it assigns you like to the atomic clock or something like that.
That's why I think Missouri and Illinois both are switching over to no daylight savings.
I think most of the country is, if not all.
Well, that'll be good then, so that like the majority of people won't be changing, and I think it's old. It's an old thing anyway.
Well, and so it's like spring forward, fall back, right?
Correct.
So I guess spring forward leads to a lot of issues, like more. There's like a significantly higher like heart attacks, car accidents, like mistakes made at work because like people are like, oh my god, I'm an hour late for whatever.
Jesus, I didn't know that.
And in the movie Train Spotting 2,
never heard of her.
The sequel to the movie Train Spotting.
Never heard of her.
Well, anyway, in Train Spotting 2, there's a character named like Spud, and a big part of his like character arc is like, I keep getting in trouble because of this. But like what was like the final straw was him being late to something because of daylight savings. Which also, is it all around the world?
What?
Daylight savings?
No, it's an American thing.
No, I'm pretty sure because it's in England, I think, or the Europe area.
Well, we did beat them. They probably adopted whatever we did.
Yeah, well, because they're all Irish. Where's Edinburgh? Edinburgh,
Canada?
No, it's in
Edinburgh,
Ireland. Is it Ireland?
Probably.
I don't know.
Let's just stop with the geography.
All right, yeah.
It was a U.S. thing because I think it was like Ben Franklin came up with it. So let's just.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's worldwide, or at least most of the world.
Worldwide.
I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know.
I don't know
more,
shit.
More scotch and ice?
Yeah. I have ice left.
Do you want me to grab you another cube?
Nah, I'm good.
This has been a drink heavy, not like heavy drinking, but we've talked a lot about drinks.
Well,
really living up to the Jen and Thomas name.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. This is probably the most, interesting drink we've had, as far as alcohol.
The most interesting drink I've had was shoe polish earlier today.
Well, I told you not to drink that. You did anyway. Until your teeth are black.
Yeah. And I am going to need you to drive me to the hospital. But no, this is
let's
good.
Finish the podcast first.
But this is good.
Also, one of the cheapest, I will say the cheapest scotch that's in a glass bottle that was at the liquor store.
Yeah, it was like 20 something. I don't know if it was on sale or something, but it was only like $22, $23. And it is good. I would have, I could happily drink this as like a $30, $35 bottle.
Oh, yeah. I would expect to pay more for that. I was surprised when it was as cheap as it was.
Well, I didn't know it was only like $20-something.
Oh, I did.
And so when we walked up to, I said this to you when we were at the liquor store, and we bought this and a couple of mixers for the drinks for
Next time.
Another episode. And the guy was just like, all right, it's $25.87. I was like, that is half what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, well, when you say scotch, people think it's got to be like a $100 bottle of 40-year scotch or some crazy shit. Scotch really isn't that expensive.
Well, so, and kind of on the topic of scotch, I guess maybe we can address this now. So from what I understand, it's purely geographical.
Oh, yeah, no, of course. Yeah, it's a geotag on it.
Whiskey types, I guess.
Yeah, it's a Scotch whiskey from Scotland. It's a whiskey from Scotland.
So what
it's like
makes...
bourbon. Bourbon is only in Kentucky.
What types of whiskey are... Okay. We're going to look at this. Sorry, I'm bringing this up on my phone. So, Scotch is from Scotland. Bourbon is from USA. Irish whiskey, Ireland. Canadian whiskey. Okay.
Bourbon's
That's
Kentucky,
obvious.
though.
Well, I'm sure it'll get to that.
No,
but yeah,
should.
but... Oh, and there's a difference if it's WHISKEY or WISKY. So in
This is
Scotland,
KY,
Canada,
yeah.
and Japan do KY. US and Ireland do KEY.
Yeah, because there is a Japanese whiskey. I've always wanted to try a Japanese whiskey. Maybe we'll have to do
I've
that.
had one. There is one. I don't remember the name. And my first red flag should have been that it's almost a little too clear. It's too lightly colored, and it had the same alcohol percentage, but it was almost too clean of an alcohol.
Well, I've only had one experience with clear whiskey, and I recommend you go watch the I'd Have a Whiskey episode.
Is it the one that came out of that kerosene thing?
Yes, the gas can we poured it out of. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think as a quote bottle, I think that's kind of cool. But when it came out clear, because I think we were at Raina's house and we were watching it. I was like, that looks like a kerosene bottle. It looks like you're pouring kerosene, and you're like, that's what it tasted like.
It didn't taste good.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Like you're supposed to say that before, but
Yeah, but I love a cool bottle, and I was very disappointed. And that's how they get you. A cool bottle often contains a bad alcohol.
I'm a sucker for a cool bottle. I'll be honest with you.
So, as I mentioned, I did mention this in another episode, but we talked about designation of origin and a geotag, and that's what makes tequila tequila and champagne champagne.
Correct.
So,
Fuck champagne. Go ahead.
bourbon is mostly made in Kentucky, but it doesn't have to be.
Really?
But it must be made in the U.S.
Of course.
Must be made from at least 51% corn, and no additives but water allowed. Must be aged in charred, new oak barrels for at least 2 years to be called straight bourbon. Oh my gosh. A shout out to another podcast I listened to. It's called Gastropod. But they had an episode where they looked into the science of aging barrels and what woods go with what alcohols for how long to do whatever.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I can look it up and mention it in another episode, but it was really, really interesting. Okay, rye whiskey. I guess that can be made anywhere, Because I know there's Canadian rye and American rye, but it just has to be 51% rye grain.
Fuck rye whiskey.
You don't like rye?
Absolutely not.
That is my favorite.
You're a trash person.
You're trash. What the hell are you talking about, my man?
Rye whiskey's so bad.
That's because you don't have taste. What the fuck?
Rye whiskey's so disgusting.
My favorite mixed
what do you
drink.
mean taste? We're drinking shoe polish right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did you have some of my shoe polish? Did you just scoop it out and rub it on your gums?
No. This is what I call the drink.
Oh yeah. Oh, I keep going back to my little tin of shoe polish. But no, my favorite mixed drink is a Manhattan with rye. Bourbon is good. To me, bourbon is a little more spicy. Spicy in the sense of it has spices, not heat. But
I'm just not a whiskey guy, really, I guess.
Yeah.
Or if I am, it's like a regular whiskey, not like a bourbon or a rye.
Well, if I'm sipping, I want a bourbon. But if I'm having like a mixed drink, I want a rye. But my favorite drink for the most joyful time of the year. No. Is it joyful, cheerful? What's Christmas time?
The most
Cheerful?
joyful time of the year.
I know there's a song, it's the most wonderful time.
Yeah,
But do we normally call it like a cheerful season, the joyful season, the Christmas season? It's the most Christmas time of the year, everybody. And my favorite holiday beverage, hot toddy. But, put some bourbon in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
I'll put some bourbon and some eggnog.
Sounds like a future episode.
Okay.
Yeah, but no,
Game on.
I really like bourbon and rye for different things. And my dad, an OG cowboy kind of guy.
Oh, yeah, I've heard where he lives.
Yeah, well, it's because he's old as hell and he was around with the cowboys, really.
Yeah,
That's what
he
it
lives
is.
in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, he lives in the middle of the woods, dude, like a mountain man.
Don't tell him where.
I won't.
They might go looking for him.
He is in the woods.
The woods, yes.
Everyone knows where the woods are. But
They're all over the place.
Yeah, and he was hardcore bourbon. And I was up there and I was like, oh, yeah,
very
Dad, whatever.
Cowboy type shit. Jesus Christ, I fucking hate this cat. Pause that or something. I gotta go take care of this.
And we are back again.
Yeah. Let's just not even talk about that. I don't even know what we're talking about. I think we're talking about whiskeys.
Yeah, we were talking about the whiskeys from across the... Oh, no, we were talking about ryes and bourbon. So all right, hold on.
Your cowboy father.
Right, so my dad, living out in the middle of nowhere with all of the woods and all that, the woods. And so he has been like a bourbon drinker his entire life. And I start rolling up. I'm like, Dad, let's get the rye going. Well, because I just wanted to, make Manhattans. And I just like rye whiskey a lot. So I'm like, Dad, let's get the ryes going, whatever. And he's like, rye? You stupid son of a bitch. Don't you know that this is cowboy town, motherfucker? My dad said that. Well, really what he said was, oh, I guess. But you hear it in their voice.
Yeah, right. You idiot.
Yeah. And so we ended up getting rye, and I don't know, I made maybe I was making Manhattans or maybe I was just drinking rye, I don't remember. But I left it up there in his house, and then when I went back into to Scottsdale where I was living, he called me a week later. He's like, Tom, I think I'm a rye guy. I was up here, I ran out of the bourbon. Let me tell you, son, your dad likes bourbon. He has that George W. Bush laugh where he's like,
Oh my God.
And he's like, so I busted into that rye, and let me tell you, I think I get it.
Yeah, it's because it tastes worse than the bourbon. He's like a, if it tastes worse, then it's more manly.
Oh, yeah,
guy.
that's what it is.
Exactly what it is. Oh, this tastes worse.
He takes a shot, and he'll be like, oh, that'll put hair on your chest.
Exactly. It's usually stronger, and it's tastes worse. Yeah.
Yeah, what I would love to
Men
do
drink this because who else would?
eventually, if we ever do some kind of out in the woods episode,
No, Jesus.
I would love for us to have a bourbon. My dad really turned me on to Four Roses bourbon.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's pretty good, but Four Roses single barrel. That's what you drink when you're in the woods.
Okay.
But yeah, so if we're ever up in the woods, that's what we'll drink.
All right. The woods.
I don't know, man, the woods, the middle of nowhere, but it's great up there, dude. I would love for some kind of boys trip or something because it's just cool as hell. It's really nice, and every morning, deer walk through the yard, front and backyard. There's a bear every once in a while, and then Joe Rogan comes up and he tells you exactly what kind of bear it is. It's really interesting.
Shut the fuck up! I'm hunting an elk.
Yeah,
Quiet.
no, it's
Quiet, you sons of bitches.
he comes up, tells you to shut the fuck up because he's hunting elk, and then he leaves. And there's not even elk we're in the woods, in these woods.
Well, yeah, you turn around to look around, and you turn back, and he's gone like a ninja
Yeah.
into the forest. Yeah.
So I don't know if he's some kind of specter from beyond the void,
I think you're just schizophrenic.
that explains the pills that I have not been taking.
Oh, well, there you go.
It was so it was so funny. I was so when I was over talking to a woman about the Disney Channel original movies. Oh shit! Completing the loop. We got to talk about that mermaid movie.
Yes, 17 again. No, not 17 again. That's a different. No, it was like.
Oh, that's the Zac Efron movie. Yeah.
No. This one.
13 again?
no.
13 and counting?
No. It's something 13.
How about we just?
Because he's when he turns 13, he starts turning into a mermaid.
Yeah, and like the milk carton sticks to his hand. He's like, "What?"
Yeah, it's
Decom.
Oh shoot. What is that called?
Mermaid. The 13th year.
13th year. Yeah.
Okay. So 13th year movie Mom, because that's where this is taking me.
What?
Didn't he have like a hot mermaid mom?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that is when I decided to become a man. Oh yeah, I remember.
Thomas, put it away.
Ladies and
Put it
gentlemen,
away.
when I saw this movie and I saw his little mermaid mom,
Oh my God.
I was
put
like
it away.
4 years old. I was like, hell yeah, dude. Well, really, I was like, wow, she's pretty.
You know what did it for me? Poison Ivy and Batman and Robin,
Ooh,
which was Angelina Jolie as Poison Ivy, by the way.
I didn't remember that, but hell yeah.
And
The Pink Ranger,
I was gonna say
the Pink Power Ranger.
the Power Ranger movie.
Which one?
I don't know the name of it. I'll look.
Was it the one with Ivan Ooze?
Yeah.
That was a good one, dude.
Yeah, that's the one.
I think that's the regular Pink Ranger.
Probably. I don't know if it was the. It might have been. I don't know. They went and got their like animal Zords or whatever.
Yeah, the Megazord.
Well, there's the Megazord, but they went and got
Yeah.
the animal.
Well, because that's when Tommy was the White Ranger, I believe.
Something like that.
Dude, I love Tommy the Green Ranger, and then he became the White Ranger. But also, okay, I mean, those are all when I was like 4, before I realized what it was to be a man. But I remember, dude, like my first like, I don't want to say like sexual thoughts, but like my first like real like, I want to be with that girl
Mighty Morphin Power
was
Rangers.
Hilary Duff, dude. I had my mom buy me her CDs. We like played them all the time. Because I was so in love with her, and my like anytime like Lizzie McGuire would come on, my mom would be like, "Oh, is that your girlfriend?" I'd be like, "Shut up." But I was convinced I was gonna marry Hilary Duff, and she is still gorgeous.
Yeah, she is. She's on it for sure. The How I Met Your Father.
Yeah, she
show?
can get it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the father. I've already signed on for season 2.
Yeah, well.
For legal purposes, that is a joke. I don't need Hulu suing me for leaking plot details.
Right.
Did you ever watch How I Met Your Mother?
How many times?
I don't know, at least once.
I've watched it like 5 times.
Oh yeah, I've seen it a few. I've never finished the last season, even though I've watched through the show multiple times.
What are you doing?
Because I know how it ends, and then the last season just kind of gets weird, like it starts jumping through time.
Correct. The last season is weird, but still a good show. Literally this year for Halloween, we watched the Slutty Pumpkin episodes.
A classic set of episodes. And then no, that's the pineapple episodes. Never mind. Yeah, who was it? Who was the girl? It was Tom Cruise's ex-wife. That mousy-looking girl.
Penelope Cruz?
No, it's. Oh, God damn it.
What are you talking about?
I try not to look at my phone too much during these. Hold on.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
How I Met Your Mother.
There's been so many cameos in that.
But his, like, the girl that was the pumpkin
Really?
was Tom Cruise's ex-wife, Katie Holmes.
Oh, that was her?
Yeah.
Huh.
And not to bash on anyone's religion, but I remember it was like her talking about being with Tom Cruise and how weird he was, like wanting to get like he's like I I'm about to take some jabs at Scientologists, but that's fine without knowing all that's going on.
Yeah, it's a weird religion.
Yeah, it's weird. And so I guess like when she was going to be giving birth, he was just like weird about it. He's like, "Oh, here's the things you can and cannot do." And this isn't some feminist women's rights thing. Like, I'm not going to be over here like, I'm going to let this, that, and the other because I'm a feminist. But, like, if a woman is giving me a child, just get it out of you the way that you need to get it out of you. I'm not going to say what you can and can't do. That's just me, though, because I want Tommy Jr., you know?
So I listened to a podcast today.
Oh, we know you do.
And the woman was saying, they asked what her birth plan was, and she said, for us to both be alive at the end of it.
Yeah, that's all I want.
It's a solid birth plan.
Yeah.
That should be everybody's birth plan.
Well, I don't know, because there are just some people like, oh, our whatever says we can and can't do this.
50% of home births have to go to the hospital anyway.
I know, that's crazy.
So don't do it at home.
Which is interesting to me is what are we doing? I guess we could just look this up, but like, what are we doing wrong that animals can give birth in the wild? Humans did it for a long time. Why is it suddenly such an issue now? Or were most women dying?
Yes.
Back in the day?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
All right. You heard it here first.
Yeah. That's why people were promiscuous. Like, why they had so many wives. Like,
oh, because they were just gonna die, and like at least I got 4 of them left.
Fucked everything that walked. It's the same thing that animals do. It's like one dude and like 8 females that they just fuck them as many times as they can, so that there's a high population of viable.
Well, yeah, I get
offspring.
that, but it's like, I guess it's hard to compare humans to like animals. But like, I had a cat, right?
Are you comparing a woman to a cat right now?
Yeah. Well, people that know me know I like to use my 1920 slang. I'll call a fine dame of a woman a piece of calico. You know what I mean? But anyway,
Black.
yeah. But anyway, like I had this cat that she gave birth like to 4 separate litters, and she just pushed them out. You know what I mean? Like I never had to take her to the vet.
Yeah.
So like, what is it about humans that's like, oh, you got to go to the hospital? Like I guess I don't know. I'm just curious, I guess.
I don't know enough about either of these subjects to have a...
Well, me neither, but it's interesting. If you
No,
do
I
know,
get
comment
it.
below, I
Well,
guess. I don't know.
Science.
I mean, I know that, like, oh, you could just Google it. The world of knowledge is at our fingertips. First of all, there's too much shit on the internet to, like, find what you're looking for. Half of it's wrong. So, I don't know. And it's fun to just wonder.
I think evolution over time, like people that shouldn't have been able to birth kids are around. And, like, like the shapes of women. Like some women don't have the hips to birth a child vaginally.
Mm-hmm.
So through, like, evolution, had we kept going the way we were going, those people would have died and they wouldn't have bared children. So evolutionarily, we would still be able to do it the same way if we would have let those people die. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and also, like, people are getting larger in certain senses. Like, dude, if you got to see my nephew, man.
You big kid.
He's 1.5, but he has to wear like 3-year-old size clothes.
Jesus.
He came out huge, and not like, hey, not trying to call out my sister, you know what I mean? But good job on getting that kid out of there, you know what I mean? But like, she's not like a large, not like large as in big, but like she's not like a super tall woman. You know, like she's an average sized person. And then the father is like a big dude. He played in the NFL actually.
Well, that would.
Well, yeah, and so that explains why this kid is huge. But it's like, yeah, like I guess if people are getting bigger and birthing hips are maybe staying the same size.
Yeah, or they're smaller because evolution doesn't play a role in science.
Yeah.
You know?
Wait.
I mean, like with science, it kind of rules out natural selection where those people would have died off and you would have wide hips
isn't
to
evolution
birth.
a kind of science? But yeah, no, I know what you mean.
No, you know what I mean.
We gotta
medical
got an
science.
obstetrician. We gotta get an obstetrician.
We need
and,
to stop talking about shit we don't know about.
That's probably the best place to start. You know what? How
I'm
about we
guessing
just
on all the shit I know. So the NFL. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's divorce.
Yeah. Tell us about your revelation that you had today about Tom Brady.
I know we just said we're gonna stop talking about things we don't know about.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I
Well,
read this.
I feel like
thing.
this is more in our realm, though.
Well, yeah. So, whoa.
And we also speculated on our last couple episodes.
Yeah. So I read a little bit of an article. Well, I read the whole article, but it wasn't the most specifically written thing. And I don't remember it completely. But so they were saying that, because in one of our previous episodes, I asked, are they getting divorced because he came back? Or were they already getting divorced and then he
had
back?
to come back? Yeah, right.
Yeah. But so I was reading this thing, and I guess they have like a really, really ironclad prenup so that they're not really going to owe each other any money.
Right.
Which is fine because they're both filthy rich. But I read this thing was saying like him coming back to play football made it so that they like he didn't owe her money or she didn't owe him money. I don't remember what it was, but like if he's like currently working, someone doesn't owe someone else. I think it's so she doesn't owe him money. But I think it's like if he's playing and earning money, then she won't owe anything. So it's just kind of interesting. Like maybe that's why he came back because he's not playing well, and it's understandable. Like I wouldn't necessarily want to go out and play football if I'm going through a divorce, which even if it's amicable, it doesn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just pretty interesting. I don't know.
That's wild.
Prenups are odd. And also, I'm just going to say this. Even if you love your spouse to death and, like, you know for a fact we are, like, never going to get divorced, get a prenup anyway. Because you never know what's going to happen, right? Like, you don't know what kind of tragedy is going to strike that pushes you apart.
I mean,
and
you could argue if you do love them, you should get a prenup. Because if feelings go sour, you don't have to fight each other over resources because you did this prenup eventually.
And you would rather do that in good spirits. But also, it's like you would... And prenup doesn't just mean like, oh, no alimony. A prenup is like anything. You're just setting the terms before you finalize it. But it's like you should decide the prenup together because if you don't, the government does.
Yeah, that's whack.
And even if you're pro-government or anti-government, whatever... I don't know. They're not famous for getting everything right all the time. So you might as well set your own terms before you seal the deal. And if you never get divorced, don't worry about it. And if you do, at least it's something you both agreed on.
And, I mean, divorces, the only people that win are the lawyers anyway.
Yeah.
They get the third. You don't get half of each other's shit. It's
all you do is fight and hate each other.
Yeah, and Jesus Christ.
Dude, I'm sorry, man. You gotta get
I put stands on here so you wouldn't do that.
You gotta get like corner supports. For those of you listening at home, I keep almost knocking over this table every time.
Well, listen, I'm working on a new table, but I put stands over the sides so you wouldn't be knocking it over, and you still managed to almost knock it over every time.
Dude, my mom, I told you this already, but my mom clowns on your table, dude.
That's fine.
I sent her the video of us trying maybe the apple slices seltzers or the Mountain Dew seltzers. I was like, so, Mom, what did you think of the video? You know, whatever. And she goes, well, what Brandon should have is 2 nice leather chairs and a nice table in the middle and this and that. I'm like, all right, hold on.
She wants to pay for it.
Well, yeah, no, exactly. I'm like, Mom, we're just trying some seltzers in his living room. And she's like, well, what I think, you should get a nice... we're just trying seltzers in the man cave. She's like, well, you should go for a cigar lounge type vibe. Maybe get some embroidered, coats and all this. I'm like, Mom, what? I don't know what you think this is.
That sounds like a funny joke for a video.
It does.
I'll go find somebody's house that's perfect for that. Yeah.
But I'm like, we are watching football. We look at each other and say, you want to film a video?
That's how it happens.
Yeah, we don't have a studio.
10 minutes later, we're filming a video.
Yeah. But you know what, Brandon?
What?
I think it's a good idea that we do stop talking about things we don't know about. And by that, we should probably just stop talking.
I agree with that.
So,
this has been another episode of the Gin and Thomas podcast. Go ahead and find me on YouTube under Brandon Churchill. You can go straight to it if you go youtube.com/@BrandonChurchill. I'm on Instagram, Brandon_Churchill_95, I believe we established. And that's mainly where you'll find me, is those two platforms. I might be getting a Twitter since Elon Musk bought Twitter. I kind of support that, so I might get a Twitter. Stand by in later episodes to see what my Twitter handle is.
And so what kind of content can we find on your YouTube, Brandon?
Oh, we've got vlogs, we've got taste testing, seltzers, whiskeys, beers, you name it, we try it. I'm not funny, my friends are.
You see, and I say, I'm not funny, you are. So our videos must not be very good.
We're horrible. Or by that statement, we're both funny and we just don't want to acknowledge it. So we just have humble pie.
Yeah, I bet we are both very hilarious. So, well, anyway, yeah, make sure to go and follow Brandon everywhere you can. As for me, I am on Instagram at CaptCoolKid. That is CAPT, Captain abbreviated, CaptCoolKid, as well as the Bad Boy of Botany. On Twitter, you can follow me. I think it's at Captain Tommy G.
You really should consolidate all those.
Yeah, I need to line that up. But I just retweet Pittsburgh Steelers and Phoenix Suns stuff.
Soon to start retweeting whiskeys and bourbons.
Well, and I mean, and I'm gonna have to lock this down, but stay tuned. I'm gonna have an Instagram for the podcast, a Twitter for the podcast, a YouTube for the podcast. I'm gonna get all of that set up before these go out live. But so just, I don't know, at Jen and Thomas, at Jen and Thomas Pod, at Jen and Thomas Podcast. Whenever it comes out, it'll be one of those.
Oh, you'll know.
You'll know. We'll announce it when it's good to go.
Well, I will if I'm here as a special guest again.
Yeah. So, if you like having Brandon on the show, make sure to let us know. He's got a pretty busy schedule. I can try to get him back on, but he's got a pretty lucrative career.
I'm not gonna say what it is.
Yeah.
I do things.
Yeah. All right. So, and thank you. And with that, thank you for listening to the Jen and Thomas podcast. We are out.